This video will help students in completing the COM 110 informative speech. Part of your requirement for this assignment is to use at least 3 outside sources, one of which must be a scholarly journal. This short video will help you first to understand the different types of information you'll find in scholarly and other types of sources. Then it will help you to find those scholarly sources quickly and efficiently. Anybody can Google for your topic. That's easy. Let's say I'm doing my speech about baseball. If I'm just looking for a quick fact, like what was the highest ever attendance at a baseball game, the Brewers' record so far this season, or when baseball was invented, then free sources on the visible web, using search engines like Google or Bing, are the best for that. But for finding more in-depth, scholarly journal and other academic sources, I recommend you start with Research at UWW on the library's homepage. Now before we start searching, we should understand, what type of information are we going to find in scholarly journal articles? First of all, you will likely never find a scholarly article that tells you the highest ever attendance at a baseball game, or any of these other questions. That's just not what scholarly articles do. Instead, scholarly sources dive deeper into one specific question that can be researched. In other words, some question that can be broken down into parts and pieces that can be analyzed separately. So for example, maybe somebody questioned, how could baseball teams encourage higher attendance? Here's an article actually completed by a UW-Oshkosh student who studied that question by studying attendance and promotions at Milwaukee Brewers games. She categorized the different types of promos and considers other variables like the team's winning percentages, and she found that bobblehead promos had the biggest effect, followed by other giveaways, events, and coupons. Let's take another example. Say you're doing your speech on interesting natural sites to visit in California. If you just want a list of the 5 most visited national parks in California, or what sorts of things you can see and do when you visit Yosemite, you're not going to find that in a scholarly source. Go to the visible web sources for that. But maybe you're wondering about, what's the impact of all those people visiting California's natural parks each year? That's a question that can be researched. And here's a scholarly article about visitor impacts on water quality in Yosemite. Or here's another article about the human impact on carnivores, like coyotes and foxes, in parks. So to summarize, this is the type of information that we're looking for in the different sources. Popular sources, which are usually easily found via internet search engines, are best for simple facts and dates, definitions, or very current events. Scholarly sources answer researchable questions, often something along the lines of, how does X affect Y? Why does X happen? How can we cause X to happen, or prevent it from happening, or improve it, or slow it down? So the first step in finding a scholarly source is to be curious. Brainstorm for some deeper research question that's generally related to your speech topic. Pause the video here to brainstorm with your topic with any of these possible suggestions. Rephrase to fit your topic, of course, or you could think of a totally different question. That's okay too. Now, once you have your question, we don't want to put the whole question into the Research at UWW search box here on the library homepage. Instead, just identify the major key concepts. With my first hypothetical question, how can baseball teams encourage higher attendance at games? I identified baseball games and attendance as my keywords. I put those in the search box and I get over 18,000 results. Now, not all of these are going to be super relevant, but hopefully you'll see some relevant ones on the first page or two. If not, then go back and try some different search words. I might substitute other words like baseball teams instead of baseball games, or MLB perhaps. If you want to see only scholarly journals, use this filter on the left for peer-reviewed journals, or if you'd like to use a book as another one of your 3 total sources, look under Resource Type for this Books or Book Chapters filter. You don't necessarily have to read the entire book. You can get good information from just a chapter or section. While a book does not count as your scholarly journal source, books are often great sources for a high-level overview or the long-term history of an informative topic. Like you can see here, several books on the history of baseball. Many of our books are online access, like these. Click on the link under the View Online section, log in if needed, and it should take you to read the whole book online, or you can just jump to one section if you want. Most of our articles, like this one about encouraging baseball attendance in Japan, are available online too. Again, click on the title and look for the links in the View Online section. If the first link doesn't work or seems to be broken, try another option if you are provided it, and if that doesn't work, please do let us know about the problem by using this Report a Problem link further down the page. Finally, one last note. It's okay if your scholarly article doesn't perfectly line up with all your talking points. This is totally normal. You will have multiple sources for your speech, and each source may only contribute to one part, or it may be talking about a somewhat related topic, but you might be able to apply its conclusions to your specific topic. Let's go back to my other topic about California natural parks. Here's one of the articles I found earlier about the impact of human recreation on animals. When I read through the abstract, or this short summary at the top, I discovered that this article is primarily talking about protected park areas in southern Arizona, and it only mentions California parks briefly in its discussion section. But if we hadn't found that earlier article that talked about water quality in Yosemite, then an article like this might work too. But consider this an example of why you shouldn't just grab the first article you see in the results list. Look through the abstract and details of multiple articles to choose the one that best fits your speech. This video has given you an overview of the different types of information you'll find in popular and scholarly sources, then shown you some search strategies to find and access scholarly content. If you still have questions after watching this video, please contact the library. We're happy to help.